If the road were easy, everyone would do it. We don't shy away from challenges. We dive in. And now, live from an undisclosed location in FEMA Region 10, it's your host, Joshua Michael.
All right, welcome, folks. Joshua Michael, Non-Compliant America, and America is back, baby. We are back, going full force 6 days into the Trump election. Since he became president, he is slaying everything, destroying the woke DEI, climate change, Green New Scam, BS. He is absolutely destroying it and doing exactly what needs to be done, and that's rip the Band-Aid off and get everybody in line, which is exactly what's happening. It is a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day. This is the first restoration of the American Republic that we've seen in 70 years. And it is a phenomenal day to be alive. So thank you very much. I am still on cloud nine watching all these things happen. It is remarkable how quickly Trump is moving. He is moving so fast, it's hard to even keep up. And I'm just going to go over some of the things that have been going on. If you haven't heard, if you've been living under a rock, the mainstream media is freaking out, but they're also undergoing a massive transformation by... There's an interesting story in CNN how they moved some people to some midnight slots to get them to step down because they're just not making any money. People are awake now. We are in the full awakening of the world. The fourth turning is here, and welcome, and it is a great day to be alive. I love you guys. It is you, the American people. It is you, the activist. It is you, the grassroots individual that has made this happen. But let's not go back to sleep. Let's not go back to sleep. Because now the real work begins, and boy, is the work happening. Just broke. Pete Hegseth has officially been sworn in as the U.S. Secretary of Defense. And let's play a short clip of that right now.
Put your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Pete Hegseth.
I, Pete Hegseth.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
All right, so you get the idea. Pete Hegseth, now the official U.S. Secretary of Defense. What that's going to mean, massive things. Another thing, I want to talk about Barron Trump today. And I also want to talk about something that just broke last night. And I'm telling you, folks, it is going so fast. There are so many things happening. It's almost impossible to keep up. But Trump just seized over $300 billion from Biden's Green New Deal scam, which was a slush fund for the Democrats for them to line their pockets. And he's doing something called an impoundment. This broke on Steve Bannon yesterday. Basically, the impoundment is the $1 trillion that was allotted for the Green New Deal. There was a excess of $300 billion. And under the new president, he has the ability to do something called an impoundment. And so basically what he did is he just froze the $300 billion that was going to go toward all these windmill projects and a bunch of energy crap that doesn't work. But yeah, Trump just found that because he came in swinging. He knew this time, this is a completely different administration, and we are back, baby. It is unbelievable. So that's just one of many, 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 many things that are going on. Another interesting thing I wanted to talk about, with Barron is that a lot of people, I think, really underestimated how active Barron has been during Trump's campaign in pushing him to go toward a non-traditional route in media, and how it paid off, especially with the young voters. Trump got 56% of the young male vote. 56%, which is ginormous. And Barron played an absolute critical role in that. And he's just kind of been quietly in there. But there's a fun video. I posted it on my X. You can follow me at noncompliantAF, where Barron, during the inauguration, he goes and whispers in Biden's ear. Well, he didn't really whisper. I mean, he said it. And then he went to his mom immediately following that, and she's like, be nice, be nice. It's actually quite hilarious with how I think Barron played a very integral role in getting his dad elected, but also just the team of people and how fast they're moving against the deep state, and they're routing them in so many ways. And again, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. Understand, we always talk about all these operations. We always talk about how do we stop these people? How do we keep these attacks that keep happening in our schools to our children, in the workforce, in the immigration, in all of these things? The fluid and the energy for those operations comes down to money. And most of the time, like in George Soros's case and everything else, it is about our money. They're using our tax dollars against us. And they've been doing it for years. And it's all these embezzlement scams and these bills that they pass and this money that they allot for this particular thing, and they set this aside and they do this and they do that, and it goes to all these NGOs. The NGOs then funnel it back into their other organizations, which set up these organizations that are meant to fight climate change or fight this, or government integrity or election integrity, when they're really actually coordinating and collaborating to steal and stuffing the ballot boxes and drudging and paying for the databases and doing heavy marketing scams for the Democrats as a bipartisan, nonpartisan party, giving it to the media institutions, pushing these fake narratives and doing all that. All of that takes money. And in order for you to stop it, you have to cut off the money supply. Trump, as you know, he spoke at the Davos group a couple days ago, and he basically says, hey, you guys at N.W.O, all you guys need to start paying 5%. Some of you are paying maybe 2%. You need to pay 5%. You're supposed to pay 5%. And you're not even doing that. And so you need to start doing that, or you're going to have consequences. Boom. And hey, we're pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord. We're pulling out of the WHO. We're pulling out all of that because we just call it the Green New Scam. That's what I call it. And it's just irrevocable damage. Irrevocable damage. There's a story here because I'm just going to talk about the Trump administration and all the great things that's going on, because it's so overwhelming to think about. This is, I posted this on my X too. You can follow me at noncompliantAF. There's a huge surprise coming out in the next 3 or 4 weeks that I'm going to be very excited to announce. And we're going to be going to different events and kind of showing off some new fun things that we got donated to us. Really cool. So inside the massive Department of Justice shakeup, there's some things that aren't being reported. And this guy, Rod D. Martin, does an excellent report on it with what's really happening behind closed doors at the DOJ right now. There's been over 20 plus career officials sidelined overnight, and that's just the beginning. Trump's team isn't waiting for a Senate confirmation. They're moving right now, pushing out long-term prosecutors who've been there for years. Because as you know, the Department of Justice has been weaponized against conservatives and any political opponents that's not following suit with whatever the Democratic agenda is. And that's why we haven't had a lot of progress over these past decades, because of the weaponization. This is just a small sliver of ways that they've been able to control people once they get them in and do this. No longer Merrick Garland, because he's out. He's not going to reign over the terror that's going on. The purge is hitting every major division. Let me go through it. The criminal division, the national security division, the national affairs division in the Department of Justice. But here's the genius part that they found the loophole to make it stick. Federal regulations generally protect career employees from being reassigned for at least 120 days after new leadership takes over. But Pam Bondi hasn't been confirmed yet. So here's the loophole. The firings come from the acting AG. And guess who the acting AG is? Ed Martin. Yes, Stop the Steal organizer is now DC's acting U.S. Attorney General, because he gets to put in an acting, because you can't have even though somebody hasn't been confirmed, they have an acting AG. So let that sink in. Think about this. He's a leader of the Eagle Forum, wants total abortion ban, 0 exceptions for rape, incest, fought to expose the 2020 election fraud, and defended the January 6 political prisoners. John Durham's son takes over EDNY. Dad investigated the original Russia collusion hoax. Son has gone after illegal aliens, including MS-13 gang members. So that's an interesting paradigm. I wonder how the dinner conversations are going over there. Meanwhile, all the important SDNY gets Danielle Sassoon, the prosecutor who took down Sam Bankman-Fried and prominent sex traffickers. So these are people that are in the DOJ right now. She even clerked for Justice Scalia, we like Justice Scalia. He's amazing. But it gets better. The FBI shakeup is just the beginning. And even before Kash Patel arrives, it's getting more wild. Tom Ferguson, who worked for Jim Jordan on investigating the weaponization of the government, is back at the FBI. He spent 22 years there before joining Team Jordan. A look at Ferguson's LinkedIn reveals he hates woke ideology, he fights socialism, and he says FBI forgot their oath. Now he's back in charge as the FBI's new leadership right now. Isn't that crazy? Oh, shoot. I had something glitched out. Christopher Wray, gone. Paul Abbott, retired. The people who weaponize law enforcement against half the country are falling like dominoes. This is what draining the swamp looks like in real time, as we've been telling you all week. Heads are finally rolling. We are winning. We are winning so much, it's hard to keep up with how much winning is going on. It's just amazing. I'm hyped up, folks. The deep state tried to kill Trump, and now he's taking no prisoners this time. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's doing more stuff than I can even cover. The shakeup isn't a complete overhaul of the justice system. The only way to restore equal justice is long overdue, and we're watching it happen in real time. It is absolutely incredible with what's going on. Seeing what's happening. There are more executive orders that I want to go through. If you haven't been heard about them, they are being absolutely decimated in every facet. And he went right to the world stage and said, hey, America's open for business. It's time to get going. Saudi Arabia claims that they're going to be putting, the prince is going to be committing $600 billion to our economy. Want to talk about a U.S. immigration enforcement update. They are now posting on X. As of January 3rd, they had 538 arrests and 373 detainees. I also want to give the hotline if you know any illegal that you want to report. Word is they're giving $750 per person that you're reporting that's here illegally. They're moving quick, folks. Non-compliant America. We'll be right back. Summer is right around the corner, but why wait for the hot weather when you can relax in a nice, soothing hot tub while the ice grows around you? Spas and More on South Commercial offers all different shapes and sizes of hot tubs at an affordable rate. Satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit them today at 5245 Commercial Street Southeast, right next to Paddington's Pizza or across the street from the Walmart. Spas and More in South Salem. SpasandMoreLLC.com. That's SpasandMoreLLC.com.
I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy. I declared a national energy emergency, and that's so important, national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. My administration has also begun the largest deregulation campaign in history, far exceeding even the record-setting efforts of my last term. In total, the Biden administration imposed $50,000 in additional regulatory costs on the average American household over the last 4 years. I have promised to eliminate 10 old regulations for every new regulation, which will soon put many thousands of dollars back in the pockets of American families. To further unleash our economy, our majorities in the House and Senate, which we also took along with the presidency, are going to pass the largest tax cut in American history, including massive tax cuts for workers and families, and big tax cuts for domestic producers and manufacturers. And we're working with the Democrats on getting an extension of the original Trump tax cuts, as you probably know.
All right, so that's just a snippet of Trump talking to the Davos group, which are some of the most powerful people in the world. These are people, understand. So here's the thing. These people have been operating in the shadows for, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 years, maybe more. And they've been using our money to set up the infrastructure. They've been doing things like breaking the internet and destroying the integrity of the internet with some of the advancements of technology to make it more difficult to have security. Now, there's a lot of speculation around this, but I know this part very well. And over time, things have been needing to be more secure. That's why you have two-factor authentication. You have to have face scanning. You have to have all of these technologies that they've incrementally been rolling out into our lives in the name of security or the name of convenience or whatever it may be. All of these things have been incrementally rolling out into our lives. To get to the ultimate goal, which is a pure biometric control grid that dictates what you can and cannot do. Now, they do it in the name of safety. They do it in the name of, something being hacked. So therefore, you need to run an update. Therefore, now you need to have two-factor authentication or a more complicated password. Or I'm giving you guys a simple example of how this stuff has all been rolling out. Now, you can blame it on China, you can blame it on the hackers in Iran or, some of these subgroups. And keep in mind, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of phenomenal hackers out there that are constantly trying to penetrate, nuclear facilities in different countries and country databases. And I'm not discounting that as being part of it. But think about this. It's all meant to put us into a box and a grid and to have managers, whether it be AI or whether it be Department of Homeland Security or whatever it may be, it's all meant and designed to create managers. And so incrementally, we have been sliding down this scale of needing security, and so we adapt to it. Let me give you an example. There's a cruise that I'm going on, and they want to scan my face and my passport through a biometric scanning system and put me into a database in order for me to check in. Now, why would they need all of that? They want to authorize and authenticate. But on the back end, where does all that data go? It's all going to big tech. It's all getting data mined. And so right now, as good as it is to have a real president that is in the White House just absolutely slaying, just destroying the infrastructure for some of this, he does have some downfalls in regards to, what power and control that he has. And it's good to use that power for good and dismantle it. For example, he talked a couple days ago, or maybe it was yesterday, about FEMA when he went to North Carolina, then he went to California, and he talked about how bureaucratic FEMA is. They're in the way. They don't know anything. They're a waste of money. And he's talking about just getting rid of FEMA altogether and just giving that money to the states and letting the states decide. The states ultimately, they know the area, they know their people, they know what they want, they know what they need. They're already familiarized with the infrastructure. That only makes sense because usually you have FEMA come in. For example, you can look at Maui, disaster, North Carolina, disaster, now California, disaster, Tennessee, disaster. FEMA doesn't know what they're doing. It's been a bureaucracy. But I also want to talk about so on the face, we think of FEMA as emergency management, which it is. Federal Emergency Management Services or Association or whatever it is. But on the back end, there's also a secret hidden thing with FEMA in which the head of FEMA could potentially, or at least used to, prior to President Trump, I know he's probably revoked this, I'll have to double check, but the head of FEMA could essentially become the president. And I want to explain that on the other side. As our country goes into an emergency, there was actually an executive order signed in 1989 by George Bush Sr., that essentially gave the head of FEMA, through an executive order, the ability to operate as the president because it was an emergency management, continuity of government, stuff like that. So FEMA isn't everything that we think it is, but it's phenomenal that he's talking about getting rid of it and just allotting that money to the states so they can actually get going. He's got the Army Corps of Engineers headed out there right now in North Carolina, and they're going to be rebuilding things, and it's a great day. We'll be right back.
If the road were easy, everyone would take it. We don't shy away from challenges. We dive in. And now, live from an undisclosed location in FEMA Region 10, it's your host, Joshua Michael.
All right, welcome back, folks. Joshua Michael, Not Compliant America, and it is a great day. It's a great sunny day. Hope you guys are able to stay warm out there. Got a wood-burning fireplace going right now. Yes, we did it. We got Trump in the White House. Gosh, it's a great day to celebrate. I'm just so excited. So many good things happening. But check this out. Vladimir Putin is reportedly pushing for the extradition of Anthony Fauci to Russia to face charges of crimes against humanity related to the COVID-19 pandemic as part of the proposed deal to negotiate an end to the war on Ukraine. So Anthony Fauci, we might see the day where he goes to Guantanamo. Oh, and do we want to get into the things going on in Guantanamo? Word is that they're building a courthouse there right now, and nobody's talking about it. But there's a couple reporters that are on the ground down there reporting on the massive amount of things happening and the big activities that are going on down there. And nobody's talking about it, which is great because everybody wants to talk about the Jan 6 pardons and the stuff. There's just so many things happening. It would be impossible to talk about everything. But Putin is demanding Fauci extradition for crimes against humanity. That, my friends, guess what? A pardon in the United States doesn't protect you in Russia. So this might be the move. It's kind of like this is definitely a Trump move to me. And this comes back, this makes me feel like, you know, I think after July 19th or whenever, or Trump was, the ear grazed by Trump and, you know, he barely survived, you know, by the grace of God, essentially that bullet whizzing by his face. He had that conversation with RFK right after that. I think it was that day or the next day. They had a good conversation. And I think that was when they decided to join forces. And they mapped out, hey, I need you to stay in the race. I'm going to give you a position in my administration. I like you, Bobby. I like you, Bobby. And I would like to do this, and this is how we're going to route the Democrats. And then when RFK pulled out, I played the speech. The speech still gives me goosebumps just listening to it every time. It was the beginning of one of my shows, you know, back in September, I think. But that's the kind of judo move that happened. And the independents and the Republicans joined forces and pushed Trump over the top, getting him the most votes in history, most African-American votes, most young men votes. I mean, so many things that he won. But we all win in that because that created Maha. And now you have RFK doing all the great work. He was a prosecutor, he was a defense attorney against all these big pharma companies, or the prosecutor for decades. He knows where the bodies are buried. He knows who the bad people are. He knows all that stuff. And now he's got the keys to the kingdom, maybe not to the extent of what the president would have, but he's a close second. And he talks about that in his speech. But the way that they routed the public and everybody and got everybody on the Trump campaign to move forward, this seems like a Trump deal to me. He's like, hey, yeah, no problem. They pardoned Fauci. That's cool. But I think one of the most cleansing, spiritually liberating things that we need to do as a country is we need to go back to the originators of the gain of function. Oh, by the way, Trump banned gain of function. He signed an executive order banning any gain of function research or anything like that. That's just a little tidbit. But also, he's like, you know, these people need to be held accountable, and we need to show the world how we're going to hold them accountable, and that America is not Biden's America. It's not captured anymore. It's not being ran by these oligarchs. It's not happening. Similar to what happened in Russia in 1917 when they got taken over and put into under a communist regime, whereas America went to capitalism and had the Industrial Revolution. Russia was undergoing the same revolution, except they went down a tyrannical revolution of oligarchs that controlled their state till the late 80s. Then you had the fall of the USSR, et cetera, et cetera. But this is so interesting because it's a checkmate. And he's like, hey, I'll give you Fauci if, you end the war in Ukraine. And let's just have peace. Let's set up trade. Let's set up some good trade. I won't put tariffs on you. I'll remove some of the tariffs. And let's have a good working economy. Let's have a good Christian world of simpatico between the Russians and the Americans. I think that absolutely needs to happen. I think it's going to happen. I think that's one of the strongest alliances that we can have because we're similar minded, similar societies. I would argue right now that Russia is far more pro-life, pro-family, pro-community, pro-Christianity. They're ahead of us. If you remember, Vladimir Putin was offering sanctuary for any red-blooded American that loved God, loved liberty. He gave them and offered sanctuary for people that wanted to go there because we were such rejects in this tyrannical system. And so I think there's a lot more that's going to be going on that we're going to see with the relationship with Russia and the United States, especially with Trump in power. He understands that dynamic. I think that's also why they pushed so hard in calling Trump a Russian agent, because that kind of diluted the waters for him to even open up that dialogue in his first administration. There was nothing he could say or do, even though he wasn't doing anything with Russia and collaborating with them or anything, but it kind of stung his abilities publicly to be able to set up that relationship. And I think ultimately it was because the deep state apparatus, the executive state, didn't want that relationship to happen. And so they publicly smeared it so bad to keep that relationship from happening. There was nothing that Trump could do. But he came out this time, it's a completely different administration. But I gotta say, I was talking to my buddy Jared about this the other day. Think about this, and this is something that's very important to think about. Had Trump won in 2021, what kind of administration would he have had? Because it would just be getting over right now, and we'd be at the end of the Trump era. What kind of administration would he have had? I think it would have been more of the same. They would have piled on more. He didn't have the right people around him, and he couldn't get anything done toward the end of his administration, especially with COVID and everything else, and he just did not know the waters. So this 4 years has been 4 years of growth. It's allowed for the awakening to happen. It's allowed for us to realize that we have to get off our butts and stop sitting around and waiting for something to happen. It also gave the public the ability to do research and the ability to wake up out of their slumber. Wake up out of their slumber and start to get politically involved. And that's been the rise of independent journalism, independent media, independent research. We aren't all going to the CDC's website to learn about medical malpractice and how that's being combated and how that's being done and what these new procedures that are actually killing people and not helping people. People are getting sicker. We're one of the sickest nations in the world, first world country, one of the sickest. Insurance is the most expensive, et cetera, et cetera. But it's given us the ability to grow. And I don't think we would be having the victories that we're having had we not gone through those 4 years of hell. Had we not been able to see how a bad administration, a bad leader, bad leadership that is siphoning off all our resources, that is taxing the hell out of us, that is stepping on the little guy, stepping on the American, giving everything to the illegal, opening the floodgates for anybody and everybody to come to the country and pillage our resources and just take advantage of our entire system. I don't think we would have the same administration we have right now had that not happened. So leave it up to God to give us the hard path to take and give us the choice to make the decision and decide what we want in our lives. And so if you go back to the Q stuff, I always talk about it because it's important. Trump in July of 2019, he's like, I'm going to go away for a while. but it's got to be done. It's got to be done. And, I'll come back and it'll be fine. But, we have to go through this. Nobody else is going to do it. And I just have to do it. And so I feel like this was a much needed scare. And it forced the system to expose itself, to make it very clear for Trump's agenda and get everybody on his side. I think it's 3D chess, 4D chess, whatever you want to call it. I think it's phenomenal, but we're seeing it now.
We working hard for this money.
They think they're coming over to my house to fix my deck. What they don't know is that we're not going to my house. We're going somewhere else. I'm not going to ruin the surprise, but we'll be there in a minute. I just swerved. Sorry. You guys okay?
Estás perdido, güey. ¿Vas a comprar comida?
Okay, yeah. I don't know what you just said. Macarena, something like that. I don't know. So we're almost there. You get ready for this. Ines, la migra! There's 6 of them right here. I got them.
All right, so that's a little bit of comedy for you guys. We have to have a good time. So that's an old video, by the way. It's a guy, he picks up a bunch of illegals at Home Depot and drives them to ICE, and they scatter like rats. But that's happening everywhere. There is a hotline that you can call for any illegal and report them to ICE. I believe I got the number right here. It is 866-347-2423. Now, currently, they're not taking any more calls. I think their phone is getting blown up right now, but mass deportations have happened. I want to talk about the 325,000 missing kids that the Trump administration vowed to find and rescue that were here illegally, but also trafficked. And apparently, they've already found between 75,000 and 80,000 of them, which is remarkable. But we need names. We need justice. We need prosecution. I think this is a very important healing element for the country, and we have to see that these actions are taking place. But listen to this report.
Thousands of them that we know. And that number has started to already come down and only from 300,000. So they found about 75 to 80,000 of those kids already. If they can get the list of these guys, 4 full days in office for Trump, if they can get the list of where some of those kids have been, and they've been identifying it, since the election, going after them and trying to find those little ones, what in the world was Biden's administration doing? What was Secretary of Homeland Mayorkas doing when he said to the committees on Capitol Hill, we don't know where those kids are, I'll look into it? No, dude, you obviously had a better way to find them, and you didn't do your job. I can't believe they impeached him and didn't remove him.
Yeah, so these types of reports are going to be coming out more and more, and the more we realize this, the more we come to the understanding that the Biden administration was coordinating with the U.S. immigration system and ICE and fulfilling the last piece of the trafficking process. As you know, there's many videos of journalists, of independent news organizations that are going down to the border. They're seeing vans full of children, unaccompanied minors, being shuttled across the border, getting into ICE vans and shipping off, and they don't even know where they go, and they disappear. And as you know, we accounted for 325,000. I guarantee you there were more, but it looks like they already had the database. So what this simplifies and what this shows is that the United States government under the Biden administration knowingly allowed the human trafficking and the child trafficking. They had the database. They had the numbers. As you know, there were whistleblowers that came out and that talked about it. They said, we know where all these kids are. We know where these people are. And 4 days into the administration, they've been able to recover 75 to 80,000 of them. That's almost a third of those 300,000 kids have been rescued from sex slavery, from child labor. They're working in factories. They're working 18 hours a day. Getting all the government subsidies are being sewn up by their captors. This is a very terrible thing, but it's a great thing that's happening. And this is how we get our soul back. This is how we get American spirit back. And I just think that that's so important. The Trump administration is doing so much on so many fronts. But take a look at Trump yesterday when he was in North Carolina, and he was talking about California. But he also talked about one of his requirements. If he's going to come in and rescue California, this is going to put Governor Newsom in hot water because he is vowing to require California to have voter ID in upcoming elections in return for the aid that he's going to be giving.
I don't know why it's been so bad. This has been one of the worst I've seen. Katrina, of course, was something that obviously that was a long time ago. That was not good. But this has been very slow. I don't know if that was for political reasons, because they lost the state. Biden lost the state. Maybe he felt he doesn't care. Maybe there were other reasons. I don't know. But this has been very slow. By any standard, this has been very slow. And we're gonna make up for lost time.
No conditions you're going to push for aid.
Well, in California, I have a condition. In California, we want them to have voter ID so the people have a voice, because right now the people don't have a voice because you don't know who's voting, and it's very corrupt. And we also want them to release the water. If they released the water, they wouldn't have had a problem. If they released the water when I told them to, because I told them to do it 7 years ago, if they would have done it, you wouldn't have had the problem that you had. You might not have even had a fire. So, but here I don't have that. It's a different thing. You got hit by a storm. The people are incredible. They worked really well. Franklin was fantastic, and other groups. By the way, other groups came in that were also fantastic.
Okay, that was Trump in North Carolina. Now listen to when he was in California, and the snarling of these Democrats are just freaking evil. But Trump's just laying it out on the table, telling them exactly how it is. Listen to this interaction with these guys on how Trump is representing all the United States, including California and everything else. Just take a listen.
You have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can.
Wow.
Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
Last night.
And that was last night. On that.
We can't even see our homes right now. We are blocked from entering our streets. Right. We can't even. This is our first time we saw our house. It was yesterday.
Mr. President, we're going to be together next week, and during the interim, many of us are. Amazing
things are happening, folks. It is a great day to be alive, and I am happy to be here. It is time to celebrate. Time to celebrate, put our bootstraps on, and get to work. We have the opportunity to have the golden age that Trump has been talking about, and we are experiencing it right now. He is the man of the people, for the people, by the people. Make sure to follow me on X at noncompliantAF. with all more breaking news. And make sure to subscribe and support KSLM on 104.3 FM and 1220 AM. Thank you guys very much for listening to me today. And it is a holy day. It is a great day. And there is so much more to come, and I can't wait to talk about it next week. Thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful week.